With me in the studio, I'm delighted to say, is Ed Accura, who's the producer of a documentary about why black men and women don't swim. Ed, good morning. Now, this is the day for swimming. This is the weather for it, safely.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
I walked down the road into the studio. It's like nice and...
It's so hot.
Yes, a little breeze.
Yeah, not in this studio. It's quite warm in here, isn't it? It is. But Ed, you've done a documentary about why black men and women... And I have to say that I was uncomfortable reading the title out.
Yeah.
Of your documentary, and is that wrong of me? I thought you can say the name of your documentary.
So while I was in conversation with one of the head of water safeties in New York, and she said what this film documentaries have done is made it easier for us to have conversations about something that previously was very uncomfortable to have. I intentionally called it Blacks Can't Swim. It was based on my personal journey. The first documentary film called Blacks Can't Swim was based on my personal journey. I've only just now learned how to swim.
Wow.
I hid behind the stereotypes, the stigmas, and I did everything not to swim. And it's not until I released the first film documentary that I realized that it was not just about me. There's, 95% of black adults in England do not swim. Okay, so why is that? Because
I mean, when I was a child, it was one of the first things that, in fact, at my primary school, they called it a swimming pool. It wasn't, and it was freezing cold all year round. But we had a means to learn to swim at just a state primary school, and I recognised that that's unusual. And it was out in the, I was at Colworth Primary School, actually, was where I went to school. But it was considered extremely important that swimming saves your life. It's not just for fun. So why is it that black boys and girls are not learning to swim?
Well, I can only talk from my perspective why I couldn't, and for the reasons people in the film documentary. There's so many reasons, but some would say they don't swim because their parents don't swim. Right. And that was my case. My
mother didn't swim.
My mother
still can't
and my
swim.
father didn't swim. My mother's idea of water safety was stay away from the water and you will not drown. And so that's how I was brought up. There's, with the Islam faith, there's the modesty. There's black ladies and their hair.
Right.
But there's so many reasons. But we don't know all the reasons. Hence the reason why the organization that I co-founded, which is the Black Swimming Association, we're putting together a research. We're in the middle of a research to understand why so many people within the black and Asian community do not swim.
And is there a greater propensity then for black and Asian people to drown? I mean, have you noticed a correlation with or do they just keep away from water like your mother told you?
African and Asia has the highest drowning rates.
Wow.
And so said and that's from the World Health Organization. Oh. So basically, WHO say that we have the highest drowning rate, and I can see why. Because it's not only about swimming; it's about water safety as well. You know how to conduct yourself when you're close by water. Yeah. And the same majority of people that drown didn't intend to get into the water at that particular, but circumstances got them into it.
They fell in, or they dived in after somebody else.
That's right, yeah.
Or...
And it's like I say, it's a big issue. It's a huge issue, but I'm asking a question, and I'm saying to myself, this issue with people not swimming, was it designed that way? I mean, is it the system? Is the system broken, or is it designed that way? And bear with me, the reason why I ask this question is that people say, okay, whose fault is it? Is it the parents' fault? Is it the fact that we don't see any role models? Is it because it's not important to us? But in the film documentary, there's 20 people talking about their personal journeys as to why they do or don't swim. And there's a young gentleman, an 8-year-old boy in there. He's 9 now, but at the time of recording, he was 8. And he said that in his school, they would section them, and then the Caucasians will go and swim, and the black kids, they will encourage them to go and play ball. So go and play football or dodgeball or something like that, which was really shocking, which is really shocking to her, So it's very hard to understand. I'm sure not all schools are like that.
But swimming is open to everybody. There are pools around London. There are, public pools, so you can buy a ticket and go swimming. I mean, there's no, no blacks, no Irish on the door of a swimming pool. So there is the opportunity if you want to go swimming. There's the opportunity,
but is it equitable? I don't know.
In what way?
You see, the thing is that, okay, there's pools available, but why would I go and swim? I never swam when my parents didn't swim. The parents never took me swimming. So it's never been a priority. So why would I, then there's all these stereotypes of the heavy bones. There's a lot of black people believe that they can't float.
You're kidding?
Oh yeah, it's out
really?
there. It's out there. They say we're very good on land, but when it comes to swimming,
who says that? The black community?
It's just out there. It's out there, and that's why the Black Swimming Association, together with Portsmouth University and RNLI, are putting together a research on this physiology research to understand: is there any truth in the fact that we can't float as well as everyone else? So there's a lot of stigmas, there's a lot of myths about that.
Do you think it's an issue of racism?
There is a degree. What I told you about this young kid in this school, that is clearly racism.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of people who will speak to a swimming instructor and they will say, the reason why you're struggling is because of your ethnicity. And this is from professional swimming instructors.
That's just bonkers. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. And hence the reason why we're having the conversation, and that's one of the reasons why I call the film Blacks Can't Swim, because I know that it will provoke a conversation.
Yeah.
And once we start talking about it, hopefully we'll be able to start changing the narrative.
And this is still very much a case now that schools are separating black children from white children?
I wouldn't say that schools. I'm just saying this is one kid's lived experience.
Right. Okay.
So I'm not saying all schools do that. I'll be astonished if
I'd be very shocked.
Yeah, that's right. But that's someone's lived experience.
Yeah.
And it could be that they believe that black people can't swim. So therefore, why don't you just go and play football? Why don't you go and do something that clearly I was speaking to a young guy.
I would never, in my wildest imaginations, have thought that somebody of a different ethnicity couldn't swim. I mean, it would never occur to me to think because you're black you can't swim, or because you're Asian you can't swim. Because human beings swim. That's what we do.
But some people find it more difficult than others. So that's basically probably the reason why people are saying that black people cannot swim, because you've got heavy bones. You're not going to be able to float. Therefore, it's going to be. So there's like I said, there's a lot of myths. There's a lot of stereotypes, and there's a lot of stigmas, which we need to eradicate.
But again, if you think about people, I'm just trying to think of people on holidays who have got black skin or brown skin. They're in the sea. They don't seem to be fitting any kind of stereotype. There doesn't seem to be any judgment upon them for going swimming. So is this an urban thing? Because it doesn't seem to happen in places like where you see black people on a beach, for example.
Well, it does. You just don't see it because all you're seeing people on the beach on by the beach. When you go inland, the problem still persists.
Yeah.
Because I'm originally from Ghana. When you go to the coast, you see people in the sea swimming and all that kind of thing. You go inland, no one's swimming.
Well, nobody's swimming inland because they're inland.
Well, yes, but you know what I mean. There's not in the pool. In the pools, there's no one swimming. Right. So the facts are there. And especially, and I'm talking about England. 95% of black adults do not swim. 93% of Asian adults do not swim.
And it's such a shame, actually, because it's fun. Do you enjoy it? You like it?
I'm beginning to enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm at a stage where when you learn how to drive and you first learn how to drive and you are concentrating and I'm at that stage now, so I'm beginning to relax now and enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I was very fortunate. Like I said, as a child, swimming was very big. It was very important, and I think probably because my mother didn't swim, she was absolutely convinced that we should. And I used to spend afternoons at the local swimming pool, you know, the Spice Ball Swimming Centre it was called in Banbury, and we would swim. And then at school, at secondary school, we all did. Nobody got out of it. In fact, even if you wanted to get out of it, you couldn't. We all had to do life-saving techniques, and you know, all of those things. It was absolutely integral part of education. Would you like to see that coming back? That everybody has to learn to swim as part of the curriculum.
Well, funny you should say that. Swimming is part of the curriculum.
Oh, is it still?
It still is.
Yeah.
And I did some research to understand, okay, if swimming is part of the curriculum, how come there's a lot of kids coming out of school not knowing how to swim?
Yeah.
Then I did the research and I found out that most schools do not have pools, so they have to take them to a leisure centre.
Exactly, yeah.
So you've got 30 kids, you're taken to the leisure centre, you take them there, you got an hour, kids are messing around as they do, get changed, get in the pool.
You get about 20 minutes in the pool.
20 pool.
Yeah.
So what they do, or what I've been told what happens is that those that are competent get into the water.
Yeah.
But those that are not, which would have been me, they put you on the side, blow bubbles, put a ring around you, and
so you don't really learn.
And you tend to find out that those that are competent are those that parents take them swimming lessons outside of the education system.
Right.
So you can see where the problem is. So so you go through all this and you come out of school and you would have had lessons.
Yeah.
But you still can't swim.
You're really not swimming.
That's right.
It's absolutely fascinating, and I think it's a not only a shame because it is a life-saving skill, but also because it's just such a fun, brilliant thing to be able to do. And and then you go on holiday and you can muck about on the beach and go into the sea. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Yeah, when I go on holiday, I was the guy that used to look after the bags and the towels whilst everybody else is in there.
Not this time.
Not this time. I'm getting in there too. I'm going to have some fun.
You might have armbands on.
But I'm getting in there as well.
You'll still look cool.
Yeah.
Ed, thank you. A fascinating conversation.
Can I tell people that if you want to watch the film, it's blackscanswim.com. Go on to blackscanswim.com and watch it and find out for yourself.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Ed Accura there, producer of the documentary Blacks Can't Swim and co-founder of the Black Swimming Association. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us here. We're taking your calls next.